Welcome back. I got a Blu-ray update for you guys. Purchased a few things and went through them, so let me go through that. I watched a trailer. I love trailer compilations, and I caught this trailer of a slasher film from the late '80s. That it looked pretty decent. It's got a guy in camo who's going around killing cheerleaders. I thought, yeah, that looks pretty decent. And I'd never seen it, and that's The Majorettes. This is a Jack Russo film. Of course, Jack Russo was part of the original Night of the Living Dead, George Romero team, and he and Bill Heintzman directed this film called The Majorettes and released it in '87. They took 2 years to do it. It started in '85. It's about cheerleaders that are being offed by a guy kind of dressed in camo, like a military fatigues kind of guy. It's terrible. When I looked it up after looking it up and seeing, well, what's it? I couldn't believe it even had a Blu-ray release, but it does, and here it is. And yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's mind-numbingly boring, and the kills. I mean, the trailer was the best thing about this. Every actor in this, actor, they're all just one-offs. There was not a single actor in this or a single character that was compelling or interesting or it's just bad all the way around. I give it a 4 out of 10. There are some special features on this. There's like a 30-minute making of featurette, which talk. And what's funny about it is Jack Russo and Bill Heintzman act like this is, the Prowler, that they made the Prowler. Even the guy that did the special effects, they act like this is stuff right up there with Tom Savini. Well, it's not. It blows big time. I'm really being generous giving it a 4 out of 10. I would avoid this unless you're a completist slasher collector. I'd avoid it. Next up is a Giallo, Watch Me When I Kill. I enjoyed this. Guy named director Beto, who hasn't. He's not the most famous, obviously, but Beto's done some good stuff, and I think Watch Me When I Kill is highly underrated. Very interesting Giallo. This time the killer wears surgical-like gloves. They're not black or red or anything like that. And there's some pretty gruesome kills. This is kind of a mix of Nazi-type stuff as a historical backdrop, as well as just a standard Giallo slasher. Very good. I enjoyed it. Good special features. There's an audio commentary with Nathaniel Thompson on this. And there's some short films from Beto, which some kind of avant-garde shorts where he's making some 15, 20-minute shorts with a classical pianist doing some pieces. It was good. I enjoyed it. This also has a soundtrack, which I actually listened to the soundtrack. I have a TV outside, so I was playing the soundtrack while I was cleaning the gutters, and it worked really well. So I recommend this highly. This is a good release. I think this is a Synapse release. Next up, I don't know why I did this, but I did, and I bought for some reason I decided I have to have the Lake Placid films in my collection. And I instantly, once I bought them, well, what's really strange about it, I don't have the original Lake Placid in my collection. That's the only one worth having. I got Lake Placid 2 now, the unrated cut, which was terrible. I mean, it's CGI sci-fi film it's all the things that we hate about CGI and sci-fi monster movies. It's bad. It's just really, really bad. John Snyder from Dukes of Hazzard is in this, and he's a decent actor, I guess. But at the end of the day, I mean, the CGI is just so horrendous with this that I can't give it a good rating. But what I can't believe is I bought this, and then I bought Lake Placid versus Anaconda, but I didn't buy Lake Placid. For some reason, I think the price was just higher than I wanted to pay. I'll get it eventually, but shit, that's the one. I should have just ditched these two and just bought Lake Placid, but it is what it is. Anaconda Lake Placid. Robert Englund is in this, and that's about the only good thing I can say about it. It's even worse CGI than the second film. Man, it's just bad acting, bad CGI. This is just a real test of your ability to sit through a film. And then finally, one of the most interesting purchases I made was Al Goldstein, Midnight Blue, The Porn King. This is so you can pick up Midnight Blue, which is a TV show that he did back in the 70s and 80s, and I think on into the 90s, just before he died in the early 2000s. You can pick up some of the Midnight Blue DVDs, and it's an interesting snapshot of history. It's not. I mean, it's the Al Goldstein. For those that don't know, started back in the 60s this Screw magazine, which was really a lot of sex and political satire. You know, he would just out people and make fun of them in his magazine that he had. He's an interesting character. He's probably not the most pleasant person to have been around, but he's just fascinating to watch, in my opinion. He had fights with anybody in New York. You know, the mayor, Ron Jeremy. I mean, he just would pick fights with anybody and just call him out on his show. You know, fuck you and stuff like this. He was a great, interesting character. I think offensive, you know, but in a kind of an endearing sort of way. At least from my opinion. At any rate, you know, his Screw magazine and Midnight Blue, he actually made some money. He went from a multi-millionaire to poverty. He died in poverty, mainly because he got sued and because of his character and his way with people. I mean, he ended up just pissing so many people off. He got sued, and ultimately he lost everything. He had to sell his house. And anyway, I think there's like 6 of these. This last one is more of a documentary about the last days of Al Goldstein and the ultimate fall of Midnight Blue and his empire, which I found the most interesting. It also covers his trial, defamation trial, slander trial, whatever you want to call it. So this was probably the most interesting of all the Midnight Blues that I've got. Now you can pick it up for like $6. It's an interesting snapshot in time, you know. If anybody was around in the 70s and 80s for that period, that they might have some interest in that. Okay, well, that's going to do it for my modest little Blu-ray update. Let me know what you think of any of those titles. Thanks.